Thank you, Monica. Yeah, I met Monica almost a year ago. We've been speaking at these various events throughout the district here really since then. She's done a great job, and I'm so glad she agreed to speak today. This weekend is a big weekend. This weekend, Nancy Pelosi again is pushing for a vote on health care, and that's the bad news. But the good news is this isn't the first time that she's tried this. For almost a year now, Congress, the Obama administration and Pelosi have been trying to get a health care bill passed that will virtually take over the United States health care system, and you have stopped them. If they would have had the votes at any point in this past year, this bill would be passed. So you should give yourselves a lot of credit for stopping what is probably the worst piece of legislation in American history. So you should congratulate yourself. Now, we have a great crowd here today, but you notice there's somebody missing. You know who's missing? My opponent, Mark Ritz. There have been repeated calls on him to simply state his position on this health care package. Now, I believe that anyone who is afraid to face the people and simply state his stance on what is the most important piece of legislation in America does not deserve to represent us.
That's right.
As Dr. Gregory said, the Congressional Budget Offices came out with its estimates here, and they are estimating it will cost nearly $500 billion over the next decade. And the question is, do you believe them? Because they're also telling us that it will reduce the deficit. I can tell you that I don't believe the Congressional Budget Office, and I'll tell you why. As Dr. Gregory stated, they have a history of being wrong. Let me give you a few of the statistics. In 1965, it was estimated that Medicare would cost $12 billion. The actual cost? $110 billion. That isn't wrong or off by a couple of percentage points. That is off by several times the estimate. In 1965, Medicare hospitalization, predicted cost $9 billion. The actual cost, $67 billion. Again, not off by a couple of percent. And in 1987, Medicaid hospitalization, predicted cost $1 billion, actual cost $17 billion. 17 times the estimate. I think the American people have a good reason to question the Congressional Budget Office estimates. Now, here's what we know is good and right about the bill. The bill will increase taxes by nearly $500 billion. $500 billion of increased taxes at a time when we're in a recession. It also requires all of us. It requires all of us to purchase health insurance, government-mandated health insurance. And if you don't purchase it, you get fined. Possibly face jail time if you don't pay the fines. Is that what you want from your government? We are also facing over $120 billion in Medicaid cuts. This will be terrible for seniors, as Dr. Gregory explained. So I have to wonder, you know, we have the greatest healthcare system in the world, without question. What are our government officials thinking? Not only are they not listening, they don't even understand why we're upset. But here we have a bill that will affect us for generations to come, and they refuse to even read it. And they don't understand why we're upset. But guess what? That's their job. Their job is to read the bill. We had Nancy Pelosi state, last week, you have to we have to pass the bill in order to see what's in it. Now, am I the only one that doesn't make any sense to? It doesn't make any sense. So here we have a 2,700-page bill that they didn't write, they don't understand, they haven't read, and yet they expect us to live with its consequences. Well, I won't stand for that, and I hope you won't either. So let me just leave you with this. As I stated earlier, Nancy Pelosi has wanted to pass this bill for the last year. Last year in the summer, they wanted to get this bill passed before summer recess. But you fought back, and they didn't. Then they wanted to pass the bill, the health care bill, before the end of the year. But you fought back, and they didn't get it passed. Then they wanted to pass the bill before Barack Obama's State of the Union address, and you fought back, and it didn't pass. And here we are. This weekend, Nancy Pelosi wants to get this bill passed before the weekend is over. What are you going to do? You have got to fight back. What you are doing is working. There are buses that are being taken down to Washington, D.C. There are rallies being held around the country. You've got to continue to call your congressman, send emails, write, talk to the press, let them know that you do not want this bill to pass, that you are not in favor of it, and that you refuse to let Nancy Pelosi and Barack Obama force this healthcare system, this healthcare takeover of our healthcare on the American people. Keep up the fight. What you are doing is working. Do not get discouraged, and I truly appreciate you coming out here and supporting me. Thank you so very, very much.